What's up, everyone? Welcome into a fresh hour of CBS Sports HQ. I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino alongside Amanda Guerra. Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
If that's a big holiday.
If that's a holiday, a thing that we do.
Did you used to go out when you were like
in college?
Yeah,
when I would come back, 100%. And I spent a few Thanksgivings in the great city of Cincinnati, where I believe the people doused their turkey in Skyline chili. I did not partake in that, but I'm sure somebody in the greater Cincinnati area is grabbing their can of Skyline and eating it on Thanksgiving.
Wait, douse the turkey? Like after
I'm being dramatic.
Like after you've cut the turkey, you put the chili on it.
I'm actually making this up.
Oh.
I'm just saying I would not be surprised. They love their Skyline chili there. You know it.
I think 100% this is a thing. I'm going to Google it when I get a break here. I'm imagining now spaghetti with turkey on top of it, with the Skyline chili on top of that.
I bet they would like it.
Burrow may have some of that. Cincinnati fans are thankful for this, or maybe not. We
Yes.
assume they are. The return of Joe Burrow. He has not played since week 2 after undergoing a turf toe injury, then had subsequent surgery. Now, according to our partners at Sportsline, the Bengals have less than a 1% chance to make the postseason. So some are wondering, is it wise for him to return? He told us this. He said, I understand why people feel that way, but if you look at it from my perspective, I'm a football player, and even if I get hurt, I'm going to go through the rehab, and then I am going to play. So let's welcome in two of our favorites. I don't know if you guys have ever had Skyline chili before. Pete Prisco, Douzable. Have you guys had it?
Yes.
What chili is like for the people in Cincinnati? It's like a tomato sauce for the Italians. They'll throw it on anything. Anything.
They really will.
Tomato sauce on anything and everything, and I can only imagine that's what it's like in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's disgusting. I put Tabasco on everything, so maybe that's kind of the same for a Mexican. Pete, let's dive into this. Joe Burrow returning. Do you agree with his return or not, given where they are in the season?
Absolutely. Look, he's a football player, and if he's cleared medically and he wants to play, he plays. That's what he does. He's paid to play football. And so I know a lot of people sit there and say, well, the Bengals, they barely have a chance to get back in it. Why would you risk it? Because he's cleared medically and he loves playing football. So I get it. I understand it. And if I'm the Bengals, I want him to play. So, yeah, I understand it. And by the way, they're not eliminated yet. And I know it'd be a long shot of long shots, but they do play the Ravens twice. So maybe there's a possibility they get back in this thing.
For me, Pete, I know you said if he's medically cleared. To me, it only makes sense if he's 100%, right? If he's 100% healthy, because you have to look at the history when it comes to Joe Burrow and how many games he's missed due to injury. Now, I get it. I'm a football player. I'm competitive. If I'm good enough to go, I want to go. But it's a little different when you're talking about the face of the franchise. You say it all the time, Pete. If your franchise guy goes down, you have no chance. So this guy already had an injury earlier this year in week 2. That's the last time we've seen him. He's had a vast history of injuries. So to me, it only makes sense, not if he's just medically cleared, only if he's 100%. That is the only thing that makes sense for Joe Burrow to come back and play this year. Yes, people will say they don't have a real shot at the playoffs. Even if they went out, they go 9-8. I don't know if that puts them in, because remember, last year they went on that run and they went 9-8 and they couldn't get into the playoffs. But it only makes sense for you as a Bengals organization to start Joe Burrow this week if he's 100% healthy.
Okay, so this is officially breaking news now. The Bengals have activated him, so he is expected to start. I mean, Lige, you said you don't want to see Joe Burrow start unless he's 100% healthy. Do you think he would put himself in that position, though, to come back if he wasn't 100% healthy?
I think that's the competitor he is. You know, I call him Joe Shiesty. That's just how he's wired right now. The thing is, and Pete knows this comes down to the medical staff, the ownership group, and then Joe Burrow's people, right? They're going to have these tight-knit conversations because, again, at the end of the day, this is the face of your franchise. And for me, I would only want him out there if he's 100% healthy. Yes, they have an outside chance of getting in, but I'm not going to risk him getting injured. Now, again, if they've sat down and said there's no risk to him re-injuring what he injured earlier this year, then okay, he can go out there. But I would make sure he's 100% healthy because, Pete, remember, they targeted this date as a date for him to potentially come back. Usually when that's the target date, that's the early stages. That doesn't mean you're 100% healthy, but I haven't been in the medical room with the medical staff and Joe Burrow, so I don't know the answer to that. I'm just saying, from my perspective, if I'm ownership, I only want Joe Burrow out there if he's 100%.
Well, I mean, look, who is 100% at this time of the year? I mean, come on, Lucia.
Yeah, but he's coming off injury.
He's medically cleared and he wants to play. Why shouldn't he play? I mean, it makes no sense. Okay, he's not all the way back, but who is? And so if he's cleared medically, and believe me, I can only imagine what those doctors have done for him to be able to play and to get him medically cleared. I don't think they're fudging. I don't think he's rushing it. I think he's ready to play. And if he's ready to play, it's his decision and the team's decision to play him, and I think it's the right one.
I mean, you do have to understand from Lee J's perspective, given Joe Burrow's injury history, looking at the standings and kind of look, they're going to play the Ravens. As you mentioned, Pete, they still have to play them twice. The division right now, not all that great. They are at 3-8. They have less than a 1% chance of making the postseason. But given how the Steelers have been looking and how the Ravens may end up playing, given the health of Lamar Jackson, we'll talk about that in a second. Lee J, could they make some sort of run in this division with Joe Burrow back?
Not at all. And again, I liken it to last year, Amanda, when I think they had to win like the last 5 to even have a chance. And even that wasn't good enough because they still missed the playoffs by a game. I believe Denver Broncos got in that 7th seed. And you look at the schedule, you talked about it. They have the Ravens twice, right? Now, that's a game that usually always comes down to the wire. But if I'm not mistaken, I think the Ravens swept them last year. They still have at the Buffalo Bills, right? And then they still got to play that Browns defense. And we know the history of Joe Burrow and the Browns. Like, that was a struggle for him week 1. They escaped with a win there, but he's always had a struggle with that Browns defense. So I don't think they have a legit shot. Yes, Joe Burrow will bring some energy to that team, but let's not forget this week he's not going to be playing without T. Higgins. So one of his weapons on the outside won't even be at his disposal. So that means Jamar Chase will get a lot of extra attention. Now, Jamar Chase has been a Raven killer, but that's a tall task to beat the Ravens this week on the road without having T. Higgins.
Pete, before we move on to the Ravens, any final thoughts on Joe Burrow and the Bengals?
I don't think they're going to make a playoff push, to be honest with you. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. He's a football player. He wants to play. He's cleared to play. Go play.
All right, let's move on to the Ravens. Let's talk about the health of Lamar Jackson. Speaking of quarterback health, can't seem to get or stay healthy. He hasn't thrown for more than 200 yards in his past 3 games. The past 2 games, 0 touchdowns and a couple of interceptions. Pete, where are you on Lamar Jackson right now?
Well, he's another guy that's a competitor and wants to play and probably came back a little too soon, but he needed to. I mean, this team was in desperate straits. They had to start winning football games. He's not the same player right now, and you can clearly see it on tape. He doesn't have the same burst. He doesn't even try and run. Rarely do they have design runs for him. I mean, he had 7 rushes last week for 11 yards. That's not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a guy who can get out and create and run around and scare you with his legs, but also can create with his legs and throw. And he hasn't been doing much of that either. So he's not the same player. I'm concerned about him. And now you have the toe injury to kind of compound the whole problem. He just doesn't look right. And until he does, this team has major offensive questions.
Yeah, Pete, he's clearly not healthy. You talked about it. He's coming off the hamstring. Then he had the ankle. Now he has the toe. And it seems like everything is just compounding when it comes to Lamar Jackson. The one thing that's interesting is this defense has been able to carry this team the last couple of weeks. Now, again, we would like to see 100% Lamar Jackson, but to your point, since he's been in the lineup, he's kind of galvanized his team. Remember, the week before he came in, Tyler Huntley in a must-win game for Chicago, he won that game, and now they've been able to rattle, I believe, 4 or 5 straight wins to put them on top of the AFC North. It'll be interesting, Pete, when you look at their schedule. If they were to get like a 2-game league over the Steelers and they're not able to catch maybe the Indianapolis Colts or the New England Patriots, do they potentially rest Lamar Jackson at the end of the season because they're going to be locked into the 2 or 3 seed? That'll be something to watch going forward, but they need to continue to win to make sure they can win this AFC North.
Pete, if they get ahead, would you rest him?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, if he's not all the way healthy, I would rest him. I'd ask him if he wanted to sit, and if he had to sit, then I'd sit him. Absolutely. I don't think they're going to be in that situation, though, by the way. I don't think they're going to be having a 2-game lead with, with 3 to go or anything like that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, their schedule, look, they do have the Bengals, then the Steelers, Ravens, Pats, Packers, and then the Steelers once again for the Ravens. Lee J, you mentioned the defense, just how incredible it has been. If the Ravens keep on the same track trying to win with the beat-up offense, including Lamar Jackson, is it going to come down to this defense who's looking like one of the best in the NFL right now?
Yeah, it's been a flip, right? In the beginning of the year, the offense was clicking on all cylinders and the defense really struggled. And people were calling for Zach Orr's head. The interesting thing, Pete, we've had this discussion. The defensive players for the Ravens weren't playing well. Like, when you look at it, Roquan Smith wasn't playing well. Kyle Hamilton wasn't playing well. One thing they did that was really good, Pete, that was underlined that a lot of people aren't talking about, the Olahi Gillum trade and also the trade for Draymond Jones. I think that's really revitalized that defense because, one, it's allowed Kyle Hamilton to be that Swiss Army knife, right? Because now you have a three-headed monster at safety and you can move him around. And right there, that guy, Mike Green, we've seen the best of him since Draymond Jones has come in because now he's not asked to be the first guy. And you see it during this 5-game win streak. They've been the _1 defense in football on points per game, third down percentage, and red zone touchdown percentage. So I think those two moves were sneaky moves to help refortify this defense. But also coming off the bye, they got a lot healthier. That was a big issue for this defense as well. They were banged up. Now they're playing the defense that we're accustomed the Ravens playing.
Well, I mean, the last 2 weeks they've played the Browns offense, and they've played the Jets offense, which you know firsthand really stinks. So we got to temper.
They played Chicago before that.
What's that?
They played Chicago before that.
I know, but these last two, come on, they're terrible. They're bad offenses. Look, but they have played better, and Leger mentioned it. Early in the season, a lot of those guys were kind of fat and happy. They weren't playing very well. And Roquan Smith actually looked fat at times and heavy and didn't play well early in the season. He's turned it up. He's in better shape. He looks like he's playing great football right now. And so I think that's something that goes along with a team, and I've said this time and again with the Ravens. When you get to where you are in the regular season the last couple of years and then flame out in the postseason, it's hard to get back up for the regular season again because you know it's at the end of the year. And I think this team got caught up in that. They looked ahead. They said, hey, we've been here before. We've been at the end of the year. But all of a sudden, they start losing games. Guys aren't playing as well. And you look up and you're in a big hole, and they've climbed out of that hole. So kudos to them. And I will say this again. If this team gets into the playoffs and Lamar Jackson is healthy, nobody will want to play him.
Give me a prediction for tomorrow, Pete. Joe Burrow back. It's a big number given the way Lamar Jackson has looked. They're favored by 7. What do you think happens?
I think both teams will score. I think Lamar Jackson's going to look better tomorrow. I think Joe Burrow's going to play well. And look, Joe Burrow's had great success against the Ravens. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it'll be close. But in the end, I think the Ravens will find a way to win it.
Yeah, man, I'd feel a lot comfortable if this game was 6.5. I think it'll be a touchdown game, to Pete's point, a one-score game. And I think Joe Burrow will give them some juice. When you look at this Bengals offense, the quarterback hadn't been the issue. Now, the last couple of weeks, the Bengals offense has struggled. I think they've scored 12 and 13 points in consecutive weeks. The defense has played significantly better, but the Ravens have been able to get that run game going, and that defense is playing at a different level. I mentioned T. Higgins not playing in this game could be a major factor as well. Give me the Ravens -7. It might end up being a push, but I like the Ravens -7.
Leger, what are you making tomorrow? Are you doing like crab or something like that?
I'm working tomorrow with Pete.
And me? I'm working tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I'll be in the studio tomorrow, so I'm not cooking this time.
Okay, yeah, no, it's still going to need you to bring in some king crab or something like that. I appreciate it. Leger, Douzable, Pete Prisco. We'll see you tomorrow as we get ready for those Thanksgiving games, including just the second time in NFL history the Bengals have played on Thanksgiving, going up against the Rams. The NFL Today Plus getting you ready for Week 13 in the NFL beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can stream it on Paramount Plus or right here on CBS Sports HQ.
Amanda, I wish I had a crystal ball so I could see where Lane Kiffin is going to coach next. I'm trying to put out orange and blue energy into the atmosphere.
I don't think those are his colors.
I think they might be. I don't know. We're going to discuss it with Danny Cannell and Tom Fornelli coming up.